and welcome to the Classic Doctor Who Marathon. I'm Dan.
I'm Michael.
And in today's episode we are looking at The Reign of Terror, set in the French Revolution, and is the final story of Season 1.
So in honour, I've got a hot chocolate.
In summer for sun. Anyway, so first things first, initial reactions. What did you make of this story?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I can tell why it's William Hartnell's favourite.
Yeah, this story was famously William Hartnell's favourite story, and I can tell why. It's so good. It's probably in Season 1, the historical stories have really stood out. We'll get onto that. And this one is a standout of them. So the story is, they land in...
it begins with Ian and Barbara wanting to go home.
Yeah. So it begins at the end of the Censorites. Ian said something about, oh, we want to go home again. So the Doctor's like, fine, you're going home right now.
But he secretly doesn't want them to go.
Instead of ending up in 20th century London, they end up in French Revolution Paris.
I'm still thinking on whether that was deliberate.
At this point, the Doctor couldn't pilot at the time.
I know, but if the Doctor deliberately made sure they wouldn't land.
And then they all split up and do their own thing. Ian, Barbara and Susan end up with the rebellion.
And the Doctor burns down to a crisp.
The Doctor gets caught in a house fire, and then takes on the persona of a judge, jury, executioner, doesn't he?
Well,
it's something.
It's something to do with he has a very. Well, he can make a difference. So if there's a prisoner, he can easily say, "I don't want them in prison anymore."
So from the off, part 1 already feels like an event, doesn't it? Because put that down. Part 1 already feels like an event because you've got it seems like more money was thrown into it because you've got like title cards firstly and like a map showing what's going on.
They probably had these written and thought that there are some which we can lower the budget to and some which we can higher the budget to, and then they realised, because since this was the finale, they might have realised, oh, by the way, we've got some spare money, let's put title cards in.
But it's like, people always talk about how Classic Who doesn't really have series finales. This is very much. It begins with them attempting to round off the adventures by having
them
try and get home. And it even references the very first story, because in the first story, the book Barbara Len Susan is on the French Revolution. So it sort of goes all full circle.
Were they planning on doing a second?
It's probably the grandest story.
Were they planning on doing a second season?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you've got the next episode, Planet of Giants. And it is just, it feels bigger, more epic. You've got some on location shooting, like
they travel quite a bit.
The guest cast, once again, is probably the best guest cast so far.
What's good is that...
there are some characters, like parts 3, 4 and 5 are a bit iffy, in terms of they sort of lose the grandeur a bit. But again, there is that thing of, you only really remember the beginning and the end of stuff.
Once you've... At the beginning, you need to capture the audience so they can say, oh yes, I'm going to continue this.
And part 6, or the ending...
You need a good round-off.
However, a complaint you've had with a lot of this series has been long stories. Like the Daleks,
what I mean by
the
long stories, let me just say this. It's not that I don't like long stories, it's that a lot of the time they seem to drag on unnecessarily.
You thought this series, some of the stories were too long.
They were unnecessarily long.
It's the first 6-parter where I felt, that
every part was
everything
needed.
That needs to be there. It was such a great story. And
this is not impacting on anything on the story, but parts 4 and 5, I think, were lost, like the visuals. So they needed to have them animated, and it clearly showed me, because recently I watched Shada, how much the animation has progressed, because the animation just wasn't that good in that one.
Okay, so you didn't like the animation?
I didn't like the animation.
Okay. Well, I think also this is a story where Modern Who, once again, could learn from it, because obviously this is season 1, so you don't have returning characters. You can't really do returning villains as a finale. However, I think this story, they could have at this point put Dalek Invasion of Earth in, because that script would have probably been nearly ready.
But isn't that Susan's?
But
That shouldn't be in season 1.
they could have done Dalek Invasion of Earth.
I mean, it would have worked at the end of season 1, but I feel like she needs.
But instead, it's a story where you don't have any returning characters apart from the main cast.
I mean, you don't need a returning character.
Oh yeah, I think series.
I mean, like series 11 of Modern Who, they didn't, or they sort of did, having Tim Shaw, but they hadn't had him in any other season. But it just.
But
didn't work,
I think
that one.
you can have finales, which are just bigger.
Are there any Modern Who ones that don't have returning?
No,
Monsters?
because you got series 1, 2 of
Daleks,
Daleks,
series 2 Dalek and Sidemen, series
3 Master,
3
4
Master,
Daleks,
4 Daleks, 5.
specials the Master, 5 all of them, 6 the Silence, 7 the Great Intelligence, 8 the Master and Sidemen, 9 the Time Lords, 10 the Sidemen and the Master, 11
Tim
Tim
Shaw.
Shaw.
Also technically the Daleks. I've always counted Resolution as the finale.
Yeah.
Because it feels more of a finale.
Yeah.
Because it rounds off the whole a plot that was introduced in the first one
Yeah.
but wasn't continued.
Anyway, so back to Reign of Terror. What did you make of the main cast's performances?
I mean, there was,
Susan is still given nothing to do.
I mean, she gets ill and then gets sent back to prison.
Yeah.
So. I mean, I swear there's a part which she isn't.
I
in.
think this could be a reason why Hartnell loves this story. He's given so much to do in this story.
I mean, yeah.
I think this is really the point where William Hartnell really starts to shine, because
he's no longer the evil one.
This is his best performance of the series, and probably
so far.
the best performance of any of the main cast in the entire first season.
Yeah.
I think this story, he really comes into his own. He's comfortable with the character, and it helps that the script is so good.
I mean, with this one, there isn't really anything that isn't not needed. Like
This story also showcases how to make multiple companions work. A complaint Series 11 has had is that there's too many companions. And in all honesty, I probably agree.
I mean, even in this series, it's sort of been like the same problem. Like Series 11, Yaz was given hardly anything to do. So this season, Susan's especially died away.
But
As
this
Ian and
story,
Barbara have done more, Susan's done less.
this story, however, they've all had something to do,
Well,
apart from Susan. But
yeah.
but really, it's the idea that they all go split off, they all do their own thing, and there's so many subplots, but not enough to make you confused. It is it's a straightforward epic where the target, and they reintroduce a theme from the Aztecs about how you can't change history.
yeah.
And it's,
I mean, there was that whole funny thing of like, and who's going to lead France? Well, it can't be this person because they're just not suited for the role. When in fact, it's them.
it's some of those things. It's amazing, I think, because you've got the main cast who are all saying, "Yeah, we really agree with this group of characters."
I mean, the difference.
But we know they're not allowed to win.
The difference with this episode and the Aztecs is that Barbara was really trying to change time, but in this, they were just going along with it. So going like,
This,
yeah, let's
it was sort
change
of like,
it.
we've got to get out of here without changing anything. Sort of like Rosa.
But then in Rose, that led to actually something that's already been changed. So we need to guard it, make sure everything falls into place.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
sort of a, we need to preserve history type thing, even though we don't like the outcome.
Yeah.
Which I
mean, they didn't really express it too much about them not liking the outcome.
But they were sort of saying, yeah, we agree with these revolution people.
So
We
we're
think
gonna help
they're right.
you, but not.
But we're not. It's like, yeah, we'll help you, But not really, because otherwise.
I mean, there's literally one part
Yeah.
where Ian's like, "Don't worry, I'll come with you and help," and then Ian's like, "I think it's better if we just back off this time."
Yeah, it's really great. So, Reign of Terror, score out of 10.
Probably 9.
9, I think it's a solid 9 out of 10. And as a conclusion to season 1,
Oh, conclusion. It's
how does it? Do you reckon it's a good? It rounds up the first series well.
it definitely rounds up. Like when I say round up, it does not like it's all connecting the series together, but
Well, it does.
But like not like completely, but not.
It sort of says, it has a look back at the adventures they've had and said, and sort of rounds.
I mean,
Yeah,
look
oh.
back, it just puts in my mind, like, Ian going, "Oh, Doctor, since we're leaving, do you remember that time when we fought the Daleks?" Like, part 1, just flashbacks.
But it is sort of the idea of this is a story where they've become a unit.
They're already...
Now they're a family type thing.
Oh.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so moving forward into season 2, you've got we've got our core characters. So
I mean, the next
I've
episode
said
looks really...
it's my favourite of season 1.
Yeah.
So rounding up season 1, it basically overall generally.
I mean, you hadn't seen it before this, had you?
I'd never seen Reign of Terror before, but generally this series, with a few exceptions, it's generally. Would you say it's got better throughout, or?
I mean, it was... The first episode, good.
Well, we've
but
got
then
An Unearthly Child, which is all right.
And then it went
The
like...
Daleks, which is all right. Edge of Destruction's good. Marco Polo, we've not been able to watch.
Oh
Keys
no,
of
Marco
Marin-
Polo's amazing. Best.
Keys of Marinus was all right, but sort of was like weakest so far. Then the Aztecs was like best story so far. Then the Sensorites was a massive dip. Like, oh, that's the worst one. And then suddenly it's back great again with Reign of Terror. So generally it has been getting better with few days because while we enjoy An Unearthly Child and the Daleks for
Yeah.
what they are.
I mean, first episode, it might just be because it's the first episode.
I think An Unearthly Child is part of 1 we really like. The rest of it, if it was to happen towards the end, by Reign of Terror is like. An Unearthly Child Daleks is our favourite show on telly. Reign of Terror is our favourite show on telly, done well. And I think, but I mean, I've said my thing about the Daleks before. I prefer the Peter Cushing version.
Probably because of Peter Cushing.
Well, no, because it is better. The pacing is better. So, but season 1 is like a lot of people don't like season 1 because they think it's too basic. I think it is a very solid introduction to the show. I mean, Hartnett's probably got 2 of his best stories.
I mean, there's definitely character development in Hartnell, like massive.
I think. Also, what's interesting is a lot of people say, "Oh, they got rid of the historicals because they're the worst ones."
Actually, no.
The
they're
historicals
best
have been my
ones.
favourite ones of the series because Reign of Terror and the Aztecs are my 2 favourites, and they're both pure historicals.
I mean, there aren't.
I know this is jumping the gun a bit, but my favourite Hartnell story of all time is The Time Meddler, and that's a historical.
I've only seen a few parts from that.
So,
I mean, except for like Time Meddler, so far, there haven't really been. There haven't been, except for like the Doctor and Susan. There haven't been aliens.
you have Dark. You better have
No,
been
but like in the
aliens.
historical ones.
The historical ones, there haven't been any aliens yet. The next historical story, which is coming up, is a bit stupid, but we're a while off from that. But
From
the Romans.
Oh.
But
where Rory comes in and goes, "I will guard the Pandorica."
yeah, no. So I thought the historical stories were the standout. I mean, Unearthly Child's a bit iffy, but
But that's not really historical.
it is. It's cavemen.
I know, but like what I mean is not based off a specific thing like French Revolution or.
But basically, I think the historicals of season 1 have been the best. Shut up. The historicals have been the best of the season.
Yeah.
And the weakest have probably been the Alien World ones. Because the Daleks is good, but I don't think it's as good as Keys of Marin.
It
as
definitely
Edge of
dragged
Destruction. And then the weakest 2 are very easily Keys of Marinus. And then the Sensorites, which is the
I remember
weakest.
Keys of Marinus being okay, but
It was okay, but then we thought it needed another part.
oh yeah. Also, the whole thing of like specific. Yeah.
But yes, I thought it's weird because we put Terry Nation stories towards the bottom end, but he probably made the show what it is.
I would imagine Doctor Who without the Daleks.
So we enjoyed Reign of Terror. Next time we are on to season 2 with Planet of Giants. See you then.